All right, let's begin our discussion of Hinduism. Before we do that, it's useful to review the difference between monotheism and polytheism, because we've only discussed monotheist religions so far. It seems simple. Monotheists believe in one God, and polytheists believe in multiple gods and goddesses. And that's true, but we, because of our monotheistic brainwashing, we tend to see polytheism as silly, foolish, superstition. But that's because we miss the central premise of polytheism, which is fairly interesting. It is this, that there is a supreme God. Polytheist religions do have a supreme God. There's a supreme creator God which the entire universe is subject to. However, he or she or it is so transcendent, so beyond human comprehension that he can't relate to us and we can't relate to him. He doesn't care about, he's the clockmaker God. He doesn't care about human interests. He doesn't care whether we live or die. He doesn't care whether we get cancer, whether we get rich or poor, whether Alabama wins another national championship or not. He just doesn't care. And so there's no point appealing to this God. There are lesser deities, however, which are subject to the supreme God, who are somewhat closer to human perspectives and needs, and we can, therefore, make deals with them. We can propitiate them and seek their help. That's the central idea behind polytheism. Because of this, polytheists tend to be much more tolerant of other religions than monotheists. Vivekananda, famous 19th century Hindu sage, which we'll talk about later, has this famous quote, "I am proud to belong to a religion which has taught the world both tolerance and universal acceptance. We believe not only in universal tolerance, but we accept all religions as true. As different streams having different sources all mingle their waters in the sea, so different paths which men take through different tendencies, various though they appear, crooked or straight, all lead to God." So that sounds very nice and tolerant and pluralist. There are Hindu extremists, but very few. You may think, well, that's the 19th century. That was the beginning of the ecumenical movement and pluralism. So, of course, he would say that. However, another quote sort of echoes that tolerance and universality from the Rig Veda, which is the oldest of the Hindu scriptures. It says, "Truth is one. Sages call it by various names." So, very tolerant, very accepting. Before we move on, I want to mention dualism. I've not really talked about that before, I don't think. Dualism is simply, it's not really monotheism, because it sees two powerful supernatural forces at war with each other in the universe, one good and one evil. Such is the power of Zoroastrianism and Gnosticism, that this dualism has seeped into all three of the major monotheist religions. But I'm mentioning this because Eastern religions tend to reject this dualism completely. They see not good nor evil, but different dimensions of one spirit, one reality. In fact, there's a Buddhist dogma called the Dharma gate of non-duality, of not two. We'll talk a lot more about that later. How many Hindus are there? There are about 1.1 billion, making the third largest world religion behind Christianity and Islam. The numbers are probably more accurate than other religions because Hinduism is an ethnic religion. It's pretty easy to identify who's a Hindu and who's not. They are found in between 90 to 100 different countries. Why is that? It's an ethnic religion. Why are they spread all over the place? Because India, South Asia, was part for many years of the British Empire, the largest empire in human history, and that led to a diaspora of Hindus. Speaking of diaspora, I see several similarities between Hinduism and Judaism. Both are ethnic religions, but they're still important world religions for similar reasons. The major one is because they both birthed major universal religions, actually 2 and 3 respectively. Judaism gave birth to Christianity and Islam. Hinduism gave birth to Buddhism, a smaller religion called Jainism, and Sikhism, which is what if Hinduism and Islam had a baby, it would be Sikhism. Also, Hinduism had a diaspora. They had a diaspora of first phase. They flourished in Southeast Asia, present-day Cambodia, Thailand, and Indonesia, and that was essentially driven through trade. That was from the 7th to the 15th centuries, the Common Era. This second 2.0 diaspora was driven by their involvement in the British Empire. And while we have so many Hindus all over North America and in our school. Now, Hinduism is the oldest and most complex of all the world religions. It's complex in part because it's very, very old. It's had a long time to develop different offshoots and philosophies. Some of its aspects reach back to the 3rd millennium BCE. Some estimates are much greater than that. Compare that with the Bible, placing Abraham at about 2000 BCE, about 4,000 years ago. Hinduism could be 5,000, and some estimate far older than that. Therefore, it is unusual among world religions in that it has no founder. We just can't go back far enough. It encompasses simple animism to extremely intricate systems of philosophy and literally millions of gods. 330 million is an oft-quoted number. I'm not kidding. The divine is one, but the divine has many faces. That's how Hindus explain that. Now, Dr. Mark Musey of Rhodes College in Memphis, he's a famous talking head about comparative religion and an expert on Hinduism. He says this: the simple statement, Hinduism is the major religion of India, though obvious, is very problematic. Let's sort of unpack why that is. All right, first of all, there's a problem with the word Hinduism. Hindus traditionally would, it's not a Hindu word, they would have traditionally referred to their religion as Sanatana Dharma, which means the eternal religion or the eternal way. Dharma strictly wouldn't mean religion. Eternal way what? What kind of way? The way things are. Dharma means many things. In Buddhism, it means the body of Buddhist teaching, sort of. But in our situation here in Hinduism, it can encompass matters of duty, natural law, social welfare, ethics, health, and transcendental realization, i.e. God, the way the cosmos is, in other words. So many extreme variations of Sanatana Dharma have evolved over the millennia that it really is best to think of Hinduism really as a family of religions, of related religions. The word Hindu, by the way, comes from the Sanskrit word for the Indus River, Sindhu. Muslim invaders were likely the first to use the word Hindu to describe those who did not convert to Islam. Some scholars say there is no single religion of Hinduism, owing to its diversity, that the word is a Western construction. But we'll use it because many Hindus in modernity have adopted the term. Importantly, however, realize that many have not. Secondly, the word religion is a bit problematic. Surprisingly, this is also a Western construction, and a pretty recent one. Languages of antiquity, like Hebrew and Greek, they don't possess a word in which to translate the English word religion. It comes from Latin. In medieval times, it simply meant faith or piety. You could have false religion or true religion. A stable meaning did not appear until the 17th century, when it came to mean a system of beliefs or doctrines derived from a divine order. Interestingly, this was the beginning of European imperialism, and Europeans are encountering all these other different peoples. Perhaps the word arose to describe what others believe. This is an important time to review the fact the word religion is a bit problematic in general because we tend to want to associate it with God, but some of the Eastern religions do not have God in the picture. But of course, Hinduism has lots and lots of gods. Lastly, even the word India is problematic. Dr. Musey says that it was an idea, India, it was an idea in the Western mind long before it was an idea in the Indian mind. The original Sanskrit name for the Indian subcontinent is Bharata. I'm going to mangle a lot of Sanskrit words. What makes the word India problematic is that it implies greater cohesiveness and unity than actually exists. India is immensely diverse. India, by the way, is more diverse than Europe. It is diverse socially, religiously, linguistically, economically, geographically. What Indians most have in common is their diversity. The pithy U.S. ambassador and great economist John Kenneth Galbraith once famously called it a functioning anarchy. It has over 1.1 billion people, 3 of the 4 major races present in humans, many ethnicities, 16 major languages, not all from the same family, 50 total languages, hundreds of dialects. Curiously, English is the lingua franca because it's a neutral territory, and so most educated Indians speak English. Spiritually, India is one of the most pluralistic places on earth. Hinduism is the dominant religion, about 81% of the population. Islam is a huge minority religion, 13.4%, mostly, but not exclusively, in the north. Muslims came in from the north, but you'll find some Muslim communities in the south. You'll find a significant Muslim community in Bombay. So they're all over. Christianity is the next religion, surprisingly, 2.3%. And this, according to Christian tradition, the Apostle Thomas came to India in the first century, and that's historically quite possible. Of course, Christianity has grown in India also with Roman Catholic and later Protestant missionaries as they've had more European contact. So a lot of Christians. Sikhism, 1.9%, mostly in the Punjab, which is that place where Pakistan and India meet, where the Hindus and the Muslims meet. This was an attempt to reconcile two faiths. Buddhism, about 0.8%. Even though Buddhism was born in India, there aren't very many in India today. Jainism, about 0.04%. Small religion, similar in Buddhism, and about the same age. And the rest, about 0.7%. Significantly Jews and Parsis, both very ancient communities. There are 2 synagogues in Bombay. Jews, as part of the diaspora, came to India very early. And Parsis are the remnants of Zoroastrianism. There are a few in Iran, Persia, where it is the pre-Islamic traditional religion, but mostly they evolved toward the Indian subcontinent, and now they're part of the big diaspora of their own, but it's a fairly small religion. So, Hinduism, religion, India, far more diverse and ambiguous reality than these Western constructions would indicate.